What's up, guys? Austin from Texas here. I'm gonna be showing you guys what you should be looking for when you're buying a used truck. Okay, you're gonna see lots of nice trucks on the dealer lot, like at Rush Tin Center. But you want to know what condition the truck's in. You need to really look at it. If you don't know what to look for, I'm gonna show you what to look for. So when you're buying a used truck, make them put new tires on it, especially if you're buying it from a dealership. Get some new tires. Legally, you need at least 4/32 of tread depth. We've got a brand new tire on here, so it's great. There's no bubbles in the sidewall. There's no cuts, tears, or rips anywhere around here. Okay, it's properly mounted to the wheel. The wheel doesn't have any cracks in it. The wheel is straight. It's in good shape. We got oil in our hubs. It's not leaking at all. At least we hope it's not leaking. Maybe over time it'll start leaking, but this is good though. Our valve stem is here. It needs a cap. But so check the brakes though for sure. Always look at the brakes. So you need at least 1/4 of an inch of brake pad here. Anything less than that, you got to change. Mandatory. Check the drum. Make sure it's not warped. Okay, stuff like that. No cracks in it. It appears to be in pretty good shape. Make sure there's no fluids on it though either, because if you got fluids on there, that's bad. You got a leak. Okay, can't have fluids on there. The brake chamber, make sure it's properly mounted and secure. It's not missing any nuts, bolts, or parts. You'd be listening for air leaks. What you do is you go in the truck, build up some air pressure, cut the truck off, and supply air to your brakes. Release the brakes, right? So you'd be listening for air. Check your air hose. Properly mounted, secured, not cut, torn, ripped, not dry rotted. You'd be listening for air leaks from here too after you supply air to the brakes. So yes, check your drag link, man. Your tie rod, not bent, broken, or damaged. It's got the castle nut right there on top. It's got a cotter pin in there. Okay, it's properly mounted and secured. Okay, we're not missing any hardware on our brakes at all. The tire, again, check the sidewall on the tire. It's good. Okay, check your shock absorber. Make sure it's not leaking. If you have a leaking shock absorber, you're gonna see that it's been wet here. Kind of like it'll kind of look like that, right? It's properly mounted and secure, not missing any nuts, bolts, or parts. Okay, leaf spring. Make sure it's not missing any nuts, bolts, or parts. Properly mounted and secure. The leaf pack itself, it's not cracks in it anywhere. It's properly mounted and secured to the U-bolts. Check the U-bolts. Make sure they're not damaged or cracked or anything. You've got nuts on there securing it all the way around, right? Okay. Check your oil pan. Make sure it's not leaking any oil. Just make sure it's not missing anything. Everything looks good under here. It's dirty because it's used. But, your exhaust here, so what? It's got rust on it. It's an exhaust. That's what's going to happen. It gets very hot. Make sure it's not leaking. It's properly mounted and secure. Check all over the engine though for signs of maybe past leaks, any kind of repairs, this and that. Your alternator here, the wires are properly mounted and secure. Okay, so they're not wires showing or anything like that. It's insulated properly. Check the belt. Check the tension on the belt. It's not cut, torn, or ripped. No frays anywhere at all. Okay, here's your AC compressor. Make sure this works, and you can check it, because if you don't have AC working in there, obviously something's wrong, and you'll know if it's the compressor or not, because this spinny boy here, if the compressor's bad, this will not spin. If it's working and you turn the AC on, this is going to spin. Okay, so it means the clutch is engaged. Check your radiator hoses, man. Make sure this, when the engine's turned off and it's cold, there's no pressure in here, like real hard pressure, because if you got pressure in here, that tells you that there's a leak in the head gasket or something, and that the there's a leak with the engine and the coolant, and it's just basically the engine's putting pressure into the coolant system, so make sure that your radiator fluid doesn't have oil in it. It's not dark or anything like that. It's nice and clean. Okay, because that'll be indicative of a bad motor too. You can tell that there was a leak here because here's the coolant right here. It was leaking, sprayed up from the fan blowing around, and it dried up. Wherever it was coming from, I don't know, but I'm sure it's been fixed because I haven't seen any problems at all. Radiator's good, not leaking. Check your radiator. Check all your clamps. Make sure your clamps are not missing, they're tight. You would check your air filter in here too. Check your air filter, guys. Make sure it's clean, or make sure there's even one in there. I've seen things where people don't even know they have air filters in there, or they don't even have any. Check the oil, of course. You pull this out, wipe it with a stick, dump it back in there, check it. It's good. Okay, smell it. Make sure it doesn't smell like fuel, coolant, or anything like that. Now there's a leak going on here. Look at the engine for leaks, but there's a leak going on here. It smells like diesel. I think there's a leak coming from the injectors. Smells like diesel. But here's your fuel filter. Make sure this has been replaced. Make sure it's good. Check your pitman arm, drag link. Make sure it's not bent, broken, or damaged. Not missing any nuts or bolts, cotter keys, and this and that. Your power steering fluids. There's fluid on here. That's good. Make sure it's not leaking. Any kind of visible leaks, guys, when you're buying a used truck, investigate it, have them fix it, do whatever they need to do, right? Here's the brakes. The brakes look good on here. Okay. So check your steering. Make sure the U-joints aren't loose. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's tight. It's not excessive play. Okay. All that's good. All right. Yeah, this is your air filter in here. I'm not gonna look at that right now though. So yeah, you guys, and check your fuel tanks. Make sure your fuel tanks are properly mounted and secure. You got metal straps, 1 and 2 up here, see? Make sure there's no leaks under here. Look for any kind of leaks, guys. Look underneath the truck really, really well, because that's where everything is hidden. So yeah, metal straps. Now, if you guys seen some pictures I posted, if you guys know my Instagram or Facebook, you will know that I was working for a company who was driving, I was driving their truck, and they had switched trucks on me, so I didn't do a very thorough pre-trip. And this is why it's always important to do your pre-trip. Man, they had a 2-inch strap holding the fuel tank to the frame. And you know what I mean? That's just crazy. So when I saw that, I immediately stopped. Don't run like that. Get it fixed, man. Check your air hoses. That's kind of some pre-trip stuff, though. That's pre-trip stuff. But when you're buying a used truck, you know, you want to really look at it, though. Check the drive shaft. Check the U-joints. Make sure it's not missing any nuts or bolts. No excessive play, okay? Make sure it's been greased, too. Here's the Zerk fitting right here. This is Zerk fitting. Let's see if I can focus. And so what you do is you put grease in there. Get a grease gun, grease the stuff, guys. Or at least have them do it, especially if you're buying a used truck. Have them do it. Check your tires. This has brand new drums and brakes all the way around on the rear. Okay. So we're good to go here. Brakes are good on here. Check your, it's got brand new wheel seals on here too. It's great. Hub seals. Check the threads on all the studs. Check the lug nuts. Make sure the nuts aren't cracked. Wheels, again, no cracks, no illegal welds on the wheel. Make sure it's in good shape. It's not bent, broken, or damaged. Check back here. Look at the spacing. It's all good. Check your U-bolts, guys. Again, you got U-bolts here too. Make sure they're not damaged. Make sure that they are properly mounted. They've got nuts on them. Make sure they're tight. Check your airbags. Make sure the airbags aren't cut or anything like that anywhere around on there. No damage on the bags. Make sure they hold pressure, supply air to them. You know, you want to check all your U-joints. Make sure there's no excessive play. That's good. That's normal. Okay. Check your 5th wheel plate. Make sure your locking jaws are working properly. Checking the brakes, got new hardware on here. Okay, so again, check your shock absorbers. You've got shocks back here too. Properly mounted and secure, not leaking, not missing any nuts, bolts, or parts. Mud flaps are good, DOT tapes on there, lights work. Check all your lights. Check the oil in here, guys. So this is, I think this is the fill tube right here. This is the drain. Can you see that? That's the drain. This is the fill tube. Or fill plug, I think, right? So what you would do is, you know, drain the fluid out. Make sure the fluid's good. Just take a sample if you want to. Or you can pull this plug, stick a hose in there, pull the sample out, check it, you know. So make sure it's full though. You know, if you want, pull it out. If fluid drains out, it's full, okay? It's real easy, guys. Check your brake chambers. They're all there. So that being said, we're gonna start the truck. We're gonna build up some air. Again, check your exhaust, guys. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just make sure everything's there and it's properly mounted and secure. If you can get records for any kind of repairs that they did, get the records for it. You know, you wanna get records for all the maintenance and stuff like that on there. Oil change intervals, this and that. And drive the truck too. You're never gonna really know what you're getting until you drive it. Drive the truck. So we'll turn our key forward. Make sure all our lights in here work. Check your oil pressure. Good oil pressure. Cruise control's on. This truck's got 662,000 miles on it. We're building up some air. We need fuel. Check your AC, man. Put the cold button on. Yeah, that feels good. Feels real good. So, all right. Oh, I got some grease on me. Shit. What we're doing right now is we're building up some air. We're gonna build up air so that we can check our brakes and everything else. Make sure we don't have any air leaks. That AC compressor don't look like it's on. But the air is cold. We're trying to build up about 125 pounds of air. Then we should hear the I forgot what it's called now. The check valve. Release the air when it's full. Got 100 pounds. Got a 8 and full or 10 speed. Not my cup of tea. I prefer at least a 13 speed, but 18 speed is what's next. There it goes. We got enough air. We'll turn the engine off. We'll turn the engine off. We'll turn our key forward again. We're going to release our brakes on the tractor. All right, it's fully released. So now we'll check for any leaks that we might have. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. So we're checking our brake line, our air brake chamber, making sure we don't have any leaks. You can see that the brakes are released now. They're not touching the drum at this point. If they are touching the drum, it's just a very, very slightly. No leaks. Go back here. I hear no air whatsoever. So I think that's pretty good. We ain't got no leaks at all. That's good. So anyways, that's gonna do it for today, man. I'll make some more content later. Y'all got any questions, put them in the comments. Do what you want to do. You know, go ahead, and if you got some advice or you just want to be helpful, go ahead. I'll listen. Another thing, I don't know how I forgot about this, but blow by. Check for blow by. If your engine's got blow by, you don't want it, because that's telling you that the rings and the cylinders are pushing past the cylinder heads and the valves, and you're losing compression. You ain't gonna have the power that you need. You're gonna lose oil. You're gonna be putting oil in all the time. You know, it's just, you don't want none of that. Check for blow-by. This is how you check for blow-by. If you would have had blow-by, that cap would have been dancing around like crazy. Probably would have blown off, because that engine pushes some serious compression. So that cap wouldn't even stay there. You take the cap off, lay it on top of the fuel of the cap, of where the cap goes, right? And if you got blow-by, it's gonna dance around or blow just completely off, and you're gonna see just compression and oil and fuel pushing out, just pushing out. It'd be like vapor. You'll see it. That's a good motor. All right, when you're driving the truck, make sure the clutch is adjusted right, okay? Make sure the clutch is adjusted right. You're not going all the way to the floor to disengage the transmission from the gear, because this is a semi-tractor. It has a clutch brake. The way the clutch works is not the same as it is in your Honda Civic or whatever the hell else you drive. Maybe even your, I don't know, your Ferrari, I don't know. But the way the clutch is designed to work in a semi, halfway down, you got the clutch all the way up. Halfway down, the clutch should disengage the P engine from the transmission. That's how it works. All the way down is the clutch brake. That's what stops the internals inside the transmission from spinning when you're at a stop. You only use the clutch brake when you're at a full, complete stop. That way, you know, if the clutch brake is broken, in some trucks you'll hear this, they'll be sitting at a light, you know, at a stoplight just chilling. The light turns green, they put it in gear and you hear it grind. That's usually because the clutch brake isn't working on that truck. The clutch brake is basically broken. The clutch brake is designed so that when you stopped at a light, you're not on the clutch. You're off the clutch when you're at a light. You're in neutral. The light turns green, you put the clutch down all the way to the floor to engage the clutch brake. It stops all that rotating mass inside the transmission. So that way, when you do go into gear, put the AC on. When you do go in gear, it's not gonna grind. It's gonna go in there nice and smooth. So, that being said, make sure that's good. Make sure when you're rolling through the gears, they're not grinding. You're floating the gears. So when you're floating gears, if you know how to drive, you ain't gonna grind no gears. Like right now, you don't hear me grinding gears. Nice and easy. So, drive the truck. Make sure the power's there, man. This truck is running good. It's smooth. It's not missing in any kind of form or shape or fashion. The delivery is nice and smooth. The transmission feels good. The wheel's not shaking left to right. This is a very smooth truck. I'm actually surprised. The alignment's a little bit off, but it's just a little bit. It's nothing to be concerned about, really. And what I mean by that is basically the steering wheel itself is not straight. It's off, but it doesn't affect the way the truck drives at all in any way, shape, or form. So the truck sounds good. The ride is smooth. It's not shaking. The power's there. The horn works. I have no complaints about this truck. Make sure the cruise control works. The cruise control does work, unlike the last equipment that I was driving. Cruise control works. The engine brake works. It's all good. Make sure your fuel gauge works properly. Check like I said, check your engine brake. Check to make sure the brakes work. When you touch the brakes, don't let go of the steering wheel, but just keep your hands on the steering wheel, but don't be holding it. When you hit the brakes, check to make sure that the truck does not veer to the left or to the right. It's okay. It went a little bit to the right there, but it's nothing. I wouldn't even hold the wheel when it did that, so there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Just make sure to check everything works, man. Understand how the truck works. Understand all the buttons in the truck. Make sure your windows go up and down. When you're buying a truck, check everything, because at the end of the day, is your money getting spent? You're not gonna get it back. So Make sure you're buying right. Don't buy something that needs any kind of work. Make sure everything works, guys. What doesn't work on this truck is the passenger mirror. They're automatic adjusting mirrors, but the passenger side does not work. Driver's side, it works. So, anyways, there'll be more videos to come. You know, I know this is not a full buyer's guide. That's not what this is, but this is just for you guys who don't even have a clue, really. You know. So, anyways, that's gonna do it for today, man. It's time to get to the money, man.